Okay, let's jump right in. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really specific moment in tennis history. One that was, well, more than just a match.
Definitely. We're talking Thursday, May 29, 2025. Roland Garros, Paris. The main court, Philippe Chatrier.
And the atmosphere, from everything we've looked at, it sounds like it's just electric. Packed house. Everyone knew they were watching something significant.
Absolutely. They were there to see Richard Gasquet, French veteran, 38 years old, his final professional match after, what, a 23-year career. Incredible. Stepping onto that clay one last time.
And who's waiting for him across the net? Only the world number one, Jannik Sinner.
Right. Talk about a contrast. Sinner, just 23, basically at the peak of his powers. Looks like he was built in a lab for tennis, coming off those big wins. U.S. Open, Australian Open.
His game is just, like, relentlessly precise, like a Swiss watch. Someone described it.
Yeah, that fits. So you look at the scoreline first glance. Sinner wins 6-3, 6-0, 6-4. Seems straightforward.
But it really isn't the whole story, is it? Our dive into this shows it was so much more than the numbers.
Exactly. This was about saying goodbye to a player celebrated for having maybe the most beautiful shot the game's seen. That one-handed backhand.
Oh, that backhand. People called it poetry in motion. And that's not really an exaggeration, is it?
Not at all. So yeah, our mission here is to unpack all of that. The match, sure, but also Gasquet's whole journey, the magic of that shot, and what his legacy actually looks like now. We've gathered all the key stuff for you, the listener, to really get the heart of it.
Okay, so let's paint that picture again. Court Philippe Chatrier, Roland Garros, May 29th. That crowd, knowing they're witnessing history.
You can almost feel it, right? For Gasquet, playing there for the 22nd time.
22nd. Just think about that stamina. Playing the French Open, on clay, since 2002. That's wild.
It explains that nickname he got early on, the Mozart of tennis. There's always this artistic flair, this touch.
And that talent, it was spotted so young. I mean, age 9,
Yeah.
on the cover of Tennis magazine.
Yeah, with that headline, the champion that France is waiting for. Talk about pressure from the get-go.
Huge expectations. And then you contrast that whole narrative, the art of the veteran, with Sinner.
The modern powerhouse. World number one at 23, Grand Slams under his belt already. Laser
Yeah.
ground strokes, big serve. Just dominant.
So the stage is set. Legacy versus the current unstoppable force.
A really symbolic matchup for sure.
So how did the match actually play out? Because that 6-0 second set jumps out, but the first set wasn't like that.
No, not at all. Gasquet definitely had his moments early on. You saw flashes of that classic Gasquet brilliance.
The backhand.
Oh, yeah. Whipping it cross-court, incredible spin. And the big moment in that first set, he actually earned 3 break points against Sinner at 5-3.
Wow. The crowd must have exploded.
Absolutely erupted. For a second there, maybe they thought, could he? That French crowd really got behind him.
But Sinner, that precision machine we talked about.
He just held firm, found the big serves, the relentless ground strokes when he needed them, closed out the set 6-3, clinical.
Okay, then the second set, the bagel, 6-0.
Yeah, that's where Sinner really put his foot down, showed his dominance. And the descriptions say the atmosphere just changed, went quiet, like library quiet.
Oof. That must have been tough to watch for his fans. But Gasquet didn't just pack it in, did he? The third set sounds different again.
No, he showed real resilience. That's what stood out. He regrouped, came back out, held serve, started trading blows again. It felt competitive.
He made Sinner work for it at the end.
Totally. And the crowd really responded to that fight. There was that moment he saved a match point with a service winner.
Yeah.
And place started chanting his name again. Richard! Richard! It was a great moment, showing he wasn't going down without leaving it all out there.
But Sinner eventually got the break.
Yeah, broke at 5-4, sealed the match. It took 1 hour, 58 minutes in total.
Just under 2 hours.
Yeah.
But even though Sinner got the win, so much of the focus then and now comes back to that one shot, that backhand.
We have to talk about it properly. The descriptions are just fantastic. Poetry in motion, aesthetically pleasing. One source said it was like seeing a painter create a masterpiece mid-rally.
It wasn't just the effectiveness, it was the how. Fluid, seemed effortless, magical almost.
And it wasn't just fans saying that. Tennis.com ranked it, 5th best single-hander of the Open era in 2023?
Yeah, behind Federer, Wawrinka, Rosewall, and Justine Henin. That's elite company.
Seriously elite. And in France, it became this cultural thing, a love letter to the purists, as one piece put it.
It made people gasp.
Right.
It reminded you tennis could be art, not just power and winning. A throwback elegance in the modern game.
Exactly. But looking beyond just the backhand, his whole career, The longevity is just staggering when you really look at it.
For sure. Maybe he didn't get the multiple slams that early hype suggested, but what he did achieve is still massive. World number 7 in 2007.
3 Grand Slam semis, Wimbledon twice, U.S. Open once.
And who beat him in those semis? This is key.
Every single time, it was one of the big 3.
Yeah.
Federer, Djokovic, Nadal.
Right. Someone used the analogy, playing those guys in their prime was like showing up to a knife fight with a butter curler.
That's pretty good, actually. It puts those semifinal runs in perspective, facing maybe the 3 greatest players ever, consistently.
Still, he racked up 16 ATP singles titles. That's a solid career haul.
And team success, too. Davis Cup winner for France in 2017. Olympic doubles bronze in London 2012 with Beneteau.
Plus, he won Junior Slams, French, and U.S. Open. And the mixed doubles at Roland Garros when he was just 17.
With Tatiana Golovin, yeah. Incredible young talent and that consistency stat. Matching Federer by winning ATP matches in 24 straight seasons.
That's mind-blowing consistency, year after year.
It all adds up. Most tour-level wins by any Frenchman in the Open era. 609 wins. That tells a story in itself.
Now, we did come across that.
Right.
Let's call it a quirky footnote from 2009, the cocaine test.
Right. The Pamela story. Very unusual. He tested positive, faced a ban.
But argued it was contamination from kissing someone at a nightclub.
Exactly. And incredibly, the argument worked. He was cleared. Bizarre chapter, but part of his journey.
And his journey is so tied up with French tennis culture, isn't it? He carried that expectation from age 9 in a country that has, let's say, a complex relationship with its sporting stars sometimes.
For sure. Born in Béziers, raised in Sérignan, deeply French. And then there's the whole history with Nadal.
Grew up playing each other constantly. Nadal talked about sharing hundreds of tournaments, cities, matches.
But the pro record, Nadal won all 18 matches.
Yeah, brutal. Just shows Nadal's dominance over him. But, important point, Gasquet did beat other legends. He beat Federer once.
Monte Carlo 2005, yeah. Famous match.
And he beat Djokovic, too. So he can compete at the very top, just ran into that incredible era.
Which brings us back to that final match. Sinner across the net. Maybe fitting, in a way. The peak of the current game, paying respects.
And Sinner was, by all accounts, ruthlessly efficient that day. Just dialed in.
Absolutely. But after that final point, the focus snaps straight back to Gasquet.
What was the immediate scene like?
Standing ovation. Huge sustained applause. Then the tournament brought him out, presented him with an honorary trophy right there on Chatri.
Nice touch. And there was a video tribute.
Yeah, messages from Djokovic, from Tsonga, fellow players acknowledging his place in the game.
And what did Gasquet himself say?
He kept it simple, but very moving. Said he couldn't dream of a better ending than finishing on that court, and that he'd keep loving tennis until the end of his life. Felt really genuine.
You could feel the emotion. Even Sinner, the winner, was apparently very gracious.
Very respectful. Acknowledged Gasquet's career, the backhand, the whole thing. Class act.
And Nadal's social media post, too, reflecting on their shared history. That felt significant.
Yeah, really touching. Happy for Gasquet ending it there at Roland Garros, full circle.
So, pulling it all together, what is Richard Gasquet's legacy, really, beyond just the win-loss record?
I think it leans heavily into that artist identity we talked about. Maybe not the dominant champion France hoped for initially, but someone who showed the beauty in the game.
The style, the grace, and the resilience, too. Over 1,000 matches played.
Exactly. Competing through injuries, through that insane era of the big 3, and always with that signature shot. His legacy is in the moments, the angles that backhand people will always remember.
It's more than just stats. It's the impression he left.
Definitely. So what's next for him? Any hints?
Just speculation, really. Coaching.
Yeah.
Maybe starting a backhand academy. That would make sense.
Yeah. Imagine learning that shot from the man himself. Or maybe just relaxing back home in Sérignan. He's earned it.
He really has.
Yeah.
Tennis will feel a bit different without him. That final match, it was just this perfect blend of the competitive result and this bigger celebration.
A celebration of his career, of that shot, of a certain kind of artistry in sport. The score was one thing, the moment was another.
He reminded us legacy isn't just about titles. It's about how you play, how you endure, the mark you leave. And often, for him, that mark was made with one breathtaking swing of the racket.
Beautifully put. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. In a sports world, and maybe just the world in general, that's so often focused only on who wins the biggest trophies, what does a career like Gasquet's tell us? Can we define success differently? Is dedicating yourself to perfecting a craft, like that incredible backhand, a form of victory in itself, even if you don't always end up holding the ultimate prize?